Time capture video. Capturing time on video.
Hey guys, I am working on the headlights of the truck, and I haven't really seen a video exactly showing you everything. I mean, there's some good videos out there working on the lights and stuff, but I'm trying to make this one maybe in depth to try to help somebody out. I think I got it figured out now. This is where they're located at. They're on the back, and you got to cut all this out. Okay, you probably got that part figured out. But once you cut it out, figure out how much of this plastic you're supposed to cut off of here is a little tough to figure out. Because as you're trying to fit all this stuff together, nothing's lining up until you cut off the right amount. What I've come up with on the front part of this is that's how much you got to cut it down. But getting it straight all the way around is a little difficult. To achieve that is I cut it off as straight as I could, and using, you know, these little trim scissors here. But then I'm laying it on the plastic. It's not too far out, but it's out some. But I'm laying it on top of the plastic here, and then just sanding the edge. I got to be careful, don't sand off too much, or it's not going to fit in there right. This is 80 grit, so it's going to sand it pretty quick. I'm skeptical of sanding too much more. I'm going to go for that. Also, you got to remember to move the plastic. There's a plastic coating on here. It'll look like that at first, kind of dull looking, but once you remove the plastic, it'll get shiny again. Took me a while to figure that out. Maybe I'm slower than most, but we'll see. But anyhow, this is the bucket here. This is how much I had to trim on the bucket. See all that extra? All that's got to come off. And then this has got to fit up in there. And it doesn't want to go in there and just snap in there perfect. And I'm not sure how I'm going to achieve this, but I'm sure there's got to be an answer. Everybody else is pulling it off. The lights are not the most easiest thing to put together. It wants to jump from one side to the other. Maybe I don't have enough plastic off of here. I don't know. But that's what this video is all about. See, if I hold it right there, it stays. But the next thing I seen this on another video, which was really good, helpful. You get these screws. You get all these little screws here with nuts. And it's best to put the screw going from the top into the bottom and put the nut underneath. It won't take up as much space on the inside. But also, using a little bit of, you got to pre-drill a hole through here, and then you got to line it up, make a mark, put a hole here, drill a hole. But if you're going to put LEDs in there, then you need to drill another hole near the back, and near the back on here, to go from in here through the fender and then underneath for your LEDs. But then also putting a little drop of super glue in here along with the bolt screw will help it hold it there. And this does go near the back. It's right up in there somewheres. But there's another little thing here. I don't know why they did that. It looks like a flaw in the mold or something. But I'm just going to turn that to the downside where it's not as seen. But I've got holes to drill, and I got this other one I got to trim out and stuff to match this one. But I just want to get you caught up that far. But get a good look at that. That's how much has got to come off of there. And this one, that's how much got to come off of there. Let me get further along and I'll catch you up here. This is what I'm using, this magnifying glass to look down through here and make my cut. That way I make real sure I get it right on the line. But I've cut all the way around this one. As you can see, that's how much I've had to take off of there. I will complete it here, but and then I'll probably sand this one too in a minute. But this is how much plastic I've had to cut off of this one here. And at the same time, like I said, it's got a thin coat of clear plastic on top of this I got to get off. I mean, it's stuck on there pretty good from the mold. See there, I told you so. See how much clearer it is? Glad for that, because the other plastic had scratches on it. I was wondering what was I going to do. But now what I'll do is I'll sand those both. Try to true them up a little bit. This 80 grit cuts it pretty quick, so you got to check it every once in a while. That's the one I did earlier, I think. Like I was saying earlier, I'm not sure if I've got enough cut off of this or not. I got to get the plastic off this one. Static electricity is holding it on there. Probably from the sanding. But anyhow, I'm not sure. Now that's holding on there better now. This one is. Let me see if I can get the other one to be as good. And I got to drill some holes next for the bolts, and then there's painting. There's painting that's got to be done. I'm painting the outside of them black, but the inside I'll probably paint white, and then I'll let that dry and then paint silver in there. Or I may try to get some of that air-conditioned chrome tape and try to cut it where it fits like a funnel and push it up in there. It may not be perfect, but it will help radiate LED lights out better. Alright, let me get you caught up where I'm at. Also, a fingernail file seems like it helps to true it up. Along the edge where it doesn't seem like it's very straight, it's a little wider, where the cut didn't go perfect. Now I've got to cut it under, work with it under this. But if you just hold it where you can find that wide side and bring it near you and just trim it, sand it. until it looks true all the way around, because it's not going to sit in that bucket straight until it is trued all the way around. If it's uneven, it's going to try to sit in there uneven. So just keep going around it and see if it's equal. Careful and don't scratch that part there. That's where the front light comes out. It's pretty close. It's still off a little bit. And this probably equals like 80 grit or something, this fingernail file. Because if you sand it on the sandpaper, it does help, but it sands it all the way around. Even on the low side, it's still sanding. But it helps to get it started. But once you sand it on the sandpaper, then use the fingernail file to true it up. And study it as you go. That's the inside right there, which is okay. It's pretty thin there too. Some more plastic. It's kind of wide here. Okay, I'm just trying to make it equal all the way around. It's getting better. I think that may be it. I think that's it. Now, look at these here too. Check them out. Let me true them up a little bit too. I'm fixing to drill the hole, and what I've got here is a 3mm drill bit. It's about the size of this. Pretty close. But there's good reason for making your mark as these are clear before you paint them, because you can hold it down there and look on the side and see how straight it is. And as you got it held there, reach inside with your pen and make you a little mark down in the bottom here. I've already made one down in the bottom here where it will fit right into there. That's where it's at. It's way back here toward the back. But at the same time, you need to go ahead and make a mark where you're going to cut the hole for the wires. I'm going to put them on the inside here next to this one here. Well, not next to it, but because you got to have enough room for this to fit down in that little spot there. That way the wire can come up next to the body, right in here somewheres. I'm going to go ahead and make the mark for it too. Might as well drill all of them. Now, I think it did such a good job cleaning this up with the fingernail file. This little indentation thing here, I'm going to put it at the top. Just like it's a bead on a gun. Put both of them. There's one on each side. Okay, so I got the mark for that. I got my drill set up. I'm going to go ahead and do this side. Okay, this mark here is the one for the bolt. This being round here, it's not going to be easy to do. This is the dull drill bit, but this is the correct size I need. Okay, let me check my bolt. Oh yeah, look here, it goes right through there. And let me get both holes drilled. Now I've been thinking about something I can put on the inside that will hold the LED bulb somehow in the middle. And I may have to make something. If I do, I'll share it with you. But I got to get the other hole here. This is for the wire. Oh yeah, and the wire, the LED bulb, it's not going to fit through this hole. It's not going to fit through that hole. The wire is going to have to be cut and then fed through here and then through there and then soldered back together. That's the only way it's going to work. Being round, it doesn't want to stay in one spot. Ouch. Well, it seems like that'd be an easier way of doing this. I think I'm going to go the smaller bit and then go the bigger bit. Because the smaller one is, I know it's sharp because I've used it before. Because I'm having to put too much bind on it to go through there. That's thick plastic. It may be 2 millimeter. I don't know. Well, I guess I might as well drill my other holes here. This is for the bolt. Okay, I want to check it before I drill the one for the wire. And getting this little dude down in there may be an ordeal. I may end up wanting to glue it in there. This is probably why a video hadn't been made exactly just on the lights, because this isn't real easy. I mean, it's not real hard either, but I'm just saying. Make sure it's going to fit through that hole. I had it through there earlier. I had it through it like that, yeah. I didn't come from the other side yet. Let me just hold it down there for now. I will get it through there, as you'll see, but I want to make sure my wire is going to line up with the other hole. Yeah, it's going to line up pretty good over there. So I'm going to go ahead and drill it too. Doggone. Yeah, Proline people, they do have some. This one's thick. I don't know the rest of their cars are that way or not, which is good. Alright, that's going to get both of them. But I will probably paint this before I set it on there. I'll paint it black before I set it on there and bolt it down. And then work on the wires. Fixing to airbrush them. Black. But I want to share this with you too. This is something I made out of a, I don't know what came in this. A bouillon or something came in it. But I put me a hole right here. I had to put a hole up here for a breather. And when I need to clean out my airbrush, I just push it up there. There, you can see it going in. But also I want to share this too. This is what I'm going to paint it on. And I made this too. It's not much. These little clampy things you can get from the Dollar Tree or somewheres. And I hot glued a piece of rod or something in there. This is something off of a lamp. Anything that's got a hole in it, it's got a base, would work fine. But this is one of those screw-in lamps. Or actually, like one of those kind of lamps at the bottom. They come on the bottom down there. You can clamp it to a desk or something. That's what I'm using. Now I'm going to shoot the outside, but the inside I will probably just brush paint. Alright, now that's said and done. Thin coats. Thin coats. Make sure you can see through it. I may put on the glove too. Well, I almost need two of those. Because I hate messing with that because I'm going to mess it up. Just trying to improvise something real quick. I think that'll work. Real thin. Now then you use heat gun. Not heat gun, hair dryer, maybe to dry it off. Let's see what happens. I need to turn the fan on. It's good to have a ventilator fan too. This is something else I put together. This goes out the window, piece of cardboard kind of. There's a fan in here. It's like a giant computer fan. I think it's a 122 millimeter, but it's 110. And then I put this here on there, the dryer vent tube, and it comes out right here. And then I hung it on this lamp, which you can see I can adjust down if I need to. I don't know, I can't stop thinking. I'm always thinking. But here we go. I'm trying to put coat number 2 on there. Number 2. And all of this will get a clear coat in the end. So we're really not after a shine. Looks like almost 2 coats is gonna take care of it. But I always like to put 3 to make sure. That's what I did on cars. I always make sure I put at least 3 coats of paint to make sure it's covered good. Real cars. Now once this dries, I could go ahead and paint the inside, and then once that's dried, then I'll install it with the screws and a little bit of glue. And somewhere in doing all that, I need to go ahead and cut the wires for the lights to go ahead and put them in there. Make sure it's dried all the way around, because if it's still wet when you go to add your next coat, it may run. And you know how runs are. People make fun of you. That's got to be dry. Third coat, third coat, third coat. Yeah, it's looking good from down here. Okay, I may just let that and just natural dry. Not that it matters. I could dry it with a hair dryer. It doesn't matter. But, and I may do that where I go ahead and paint the inside. Okay. I gotta clean the airbrush. Show you how easy this is for cleaning the airbrush. I got some water in this bottle here. I call it water, whatever. And I just spray this in there, like that, along the sides. I've already dumped my paint out, okay? But it's just cleaning. And then I find the hole here, put it in the hole, and then start working the needle back and forth, trying to get it cleaned out. You'll see it dropping down here in a minute. It's dropping down. And the air is escaping out the top hole here. I can feel it. Okay, I do this about 3 times also. Drops down faster each time. Okay, the next thing I do is I get a paper towel, wipe it out a little bit, then I'll loosen the nut for the needle right here, then I pull the needle out. See all that stuff? Gonna wipe that off. Now, with some paints that are not airbrush paints, the pigment that makes the paint is bigger than airbrush paint. Airbrush paint, the pigment is ground down real fine. That's why airbrush is real easy. But the other paints will try to get clogged up in there, down in the tip here. Well, I'm just sharing a lot today, huh? That's the tip right there. It's screwed on there. Actually, I'll go ahead and take it off. Never use pliers. And don't over tighten when you go back. Okay, sometimes the pigments will get clogged up in here. Now what I do when I used to airbrush for a living, airbrushing t-shirts and stuff, and you're way out there and it goes getting clogged up and there's no way you can clean it with a little brush or whatever. So I use the butt end of the needle and push down in there, scrub the sides all the way around, because if there's any paint skim in there, it pushes it toward the tip. That's the only way you can get it out, because you can't pull it out this way. I guess you can pull out some. But then once I pushed it down enough like that, then I take the needle and I push it on down, pushing along the sides, and you're going to start seeing some stuff come out of there. See it come out of there? See it look like a worm coming out of there? That's paint residue. Alright, that piece just fell off. See, now the needle goes in there good. The needle's all the way to the end. Actually, you could blow a little water up in there. Screw the fluid tip back on. Tighten it gently, 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 not much. Slide the needle back in place. Tighten the nut. And you're ready for the next time. Well, hang on. Where's the fluid head? Once you get it back together, I got the fluid tip on there. The air cap on there. Once you get it back together, then try it out and make sure it's going to work. See it blowing in there? That's all of it. Wasn't much in there. Okay, I'm checking the wires because these here have tail lights and headlights. And the tail lights are smaller, but I want to make sure they work and everything. So I got to hook them up. But they also sell this little Y thing here that you can buy. That way you don't tie up a channel. You can add on to it. So when you're putting this on there, look down there and you'll see a black one on one side. That's the same way this has got to go. Black one's got to go on there. Okay, once you got that on there, then you got an extra one here. Same thing here. Except these are backwards somehow. I don't know if I did them backwards or the factory did them backwards, but I'm leaving them. They'll work. But you got to hook it up on the black and the red side. You go this way, it's probably not going to work. I don't know. We can find out. Let's find out real quick. Well, it won't hook up that way. All right, let's get done with it. All right, and then flip the switch on. Okay, one of these is not working. I don't know. There it goes. It did this before. It's got a loose connection. I got to work on that. See it there? Probably got to be resoldered down in there. But anyhow, we know which one's the bright ones. And the bright ones I'm going to have to cut to go through there, as you're fixing to see. Alright, we're finally ready to paint the inside. Got a brush here. It's a number 4. Doesn't really matter what size you use. Now this is still I can kind of feel it kind of tacky a little bit. Be better for it to dry overnight. And I got to be careful, don't let white paint come out those holes. But I'm going to put silver, but this will help the silver to be a little more brighter. And this may take 2 coats here too. painting around the holes. That way it won't go through there. Alright, there's one. Turn him upside down and get the other one. I'll probably dry that with a hair dryer and go ahead and put the second coat on there. Okay, see how there you can go through it and make a mess. Okay, I did decide to go ahead and use the chrome tape. Comes on a big roll. It's air conditioned type tape. Got a sticky back on it. We're going to have to cut pieces to slide down in there. But this has still got to finish drying. The white didn't finish drying. I wasn't sure how I was going to go about this. I think this is going to look better than the silver. Now if you can get this tape, do 2 coats of white and then paint some silver in there. But meanwhile, I got to clean my brush. Let me show you something else I put together. This is an old coffee Folgers. And I cut it down because it was too tall. I didn't like it being tall. And hot glued it right here. But I also put a sink strainer in there. It's a smaller one than this. At the bottom where I can clean the brush. And I can just leave it in there, let it soak for a little bit too. But I don't like letting them soak too much because there's glue up inside where the bristles go. It probably would not loosen it up, but I don't like to take a chance. Then once I do that, then I just wipe them off. Then I close this, set it out of the way. And that one can go back where I got it from, which is over here. This is my tool department. It's all my tools and stuff. Everything I need, or I've worked and used on RCs, is right there. So I gotta let that dry a little bit longer, and then we'll start cutting this to fit up in there. I can check it now, but I am not so sure if it's ready. No, it looks kind of damp down at the bottom there. We'll wait a little bit longer. Alright, let it dry a little longer, and then we'll work on it. Okay, it's dried good enough. But meanwhile, look at these lights. Those are the back lights. These are red. The back lights are. These are the front lights. And as you can see, there's no way I'm going to get any of this through them little holes from either side. The other side. Where's the other side? There it is. So I have to cut this and solder them back. So I'm going to go down here a little ways, speculate. This would be the headlight. It'd go through the fender and then get up under the cab somewheres, probably down here close to where it comes together. Give me enough room where I can fix it. And I'm going to take a pair of scissors and cut it, and then I'll have to solder that back. And I might as well go ahead and cut the other one. Okay, now that's said and done. Alright, now it matters which side this goes on, if it's right or left. Oh, I can tell by this, the way I drilled them, and the way that little thing is at the top. This will go in the bottom hole. Yeah, let's use these. In the bottom hole. There they are. Might as well go ahead and get them in there. Now how is this going to sit in the center? Oh gosh, look at this long piece here. I may have to drill that hole bigger. I'm in the wrong hole anyhow. I'm going to have to drill that hole bigger. It's got to be big enough for this black part here to go in there. Got a hole cutter. Instead of getting out the drill, I think it unscrews. There it goes. Real sharp. Alright, this is going to be the driver's side. So if it's going to be the driver's side, I got to go to the side hole, this hole right here. Let me look, make sure. Yep. And cut it to be bigger. Slowly cutting it. I'm going to tell you, this is some good plastic that the Proline people sell. So this is kind of stuff you would run into, what I'm doing today. See, it's still not fitting in there. I gotta make that hole even bigger. It's gotta be a lot bigger. Let me get the hole bigger and I'll get back with you. Yeah, it's a handy little tool. I finally got them. I just had to work with it a little bit. It went through there. But, see, it did go through there. But this is not going to bend very easy. So when I go to mount it to the truck with the screw down through there, I've got to make sure that the hole in the truck fender is big also, where the wire goes through. And this has got to set up straight like that. It cannot bend or do anything else because this is stiff right here. And I don't know about bending it. It looks like there's a resistor right there under the shrink wrap. But that'll work. I mean, I could probably, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. Let's get the other one in there too. The hole's so big it almost just falls in there now. There is a right and there is a left. This is the driver's side. This is the passenger side. But now we want to cut some tape and try to tape it inside there. And I'm thinking it's going to have to be in kind of pie shapes. Let's try one. Look at my fingernails, how dirty they are now. Alright, I may have to remove that for right now. I may have to use these. Gotta come up near the front on the edge, start mashing it down. If I'm not careful, it'll bend it. I don't want to bend it either. Just roll it in there with my finger. Yeah, that looks like that's what it's going to be. The very shape of this. This is the remainder off the back. I need to cut some similar to this. And get a knife, it'd be a little easier to move that. Right next to the other one. I have to try to line it up a little bit. This is tedious. And it'd probably be easier to just do the silver paint. But I'm thinking this would reflect the light out better. See, I didn't overlap them right there, but it's pretty close. Let me cut some more and I'm gonna get back to you. Okay, I finally got all the tape in there, the chrome tape. I still think it's gonna be better than silver paint. I've got holes lined up for this one and cut out. I haven't cut these out yet. What I'm doing is kind of poking around until I find it. Trying to cut that tape against that hole and find the other one there too. Alright, those are cleared out. Okay. Now getting these on the truck. Down in there, fit through there, and like I said, it's probably just going to have to stand up just like that. Yeah. And I may put a little bit of hot glue in there to hold it. I think I'm going to have to. And meanwhile, I got to get this in there. And that's going to be tough trying to tighten that. The hot glue will hold it. It's tight, but it's on there. I've got one sitting on there, but it's not glued it and it's not bolted down. I just hot glued it in there. And this one here, I'm going to walk you through what I did on the other one. Alright, one thing I had to do is make this hole here where the wires go through bigger. I already suspected that. I mean, it's got to be a good bit bigger. But it's going to be hidden on the other side. And kind of leaning this a little bit too. Because that's where the wire, the bulb's got to stand up. Let's see if that'll work. And I went on it, I haven't glued this one yet. So the wire goes in here. Slides in. And then the screw should go right in there. And that's about how it's going to line up. And then I just set it on there like that. And then went on and got the hot glue. It's dripping everywhere. And put a little hot glue on there to kind of hold it in place. The screw too. It's the only way I could figure out of doing it. And just hold it there for a little bit and let it cool off. Okay, the hot glue finally hardened up. Now I got to try to get this little bitty nut, this one here, you can hardly see, on the back side of this. Down in there. Down in there. Down in there. Probably nice to have a little nut driver set. probably got one somewhere, but I feel like looking for it. So we'll do this here. I'm looking for the nut driver set. Alright. That one tightened up pretty good. And this one here, I hope it's not turning in there. I'm doing this where I can watch that stud there in the middle and make sure it's not spinning also. It don't seem like this one's tightening up too good. That nut there almost looks like it's plastic. Alright. Only thing that'd be left now, which you can see it looked pretty good. Pretty straight. And the bulbs, they hold in place. These aren't in the exact same spot. I know what I did wrong, but it's too late to fix it. But it will all be hidden. I got to get some of that super glue that's thin. The glue I've got here is thick. This is thick. It won't work. I got to have something that's thin and put a light thin coat around the edge here and glue these in place. Then I'll be ready to solder these wires back together and get them hung under there. And that should be it for the headlights.
Viewing the video or giving us a like or subscribing makes us want to bring on a little more entertainment. Don't you agree?